faith they won't get cold, and turn your eyes to the bloodshot sky. Your flag is flying full.
I, in the beginning, didn't know what was happening to my family or why. After hearing the first major news blitz about Agent Orange in 1978 in March, when Maud DeVictor broke the news about veterans having health problems, and realizing that that was a great possibility for all of the things that have been happening in my family, my husband's illnesses, the birth defects in my children, I started collecting research. What I found was that these chemicals caused in animals and also in people leukemias, lymphoma, cancers, birth defects that I had seen in my own children and seen in other veterans' children traveling around the country and speaking with these people.
Where have all the flowers gone? Long time ago.
Marie was born with hydrocephaly, which is an excessive amount of cerebral spinal fluid on the brain. She has a neural tube defect, which is common in animals and also humans exposed to phenoxy compounds. She had to have a plastic tube or a shunt inserted in her head when she was 2 weeks old. She has a severe seizure disorder, which is complicated again by the continued re-exposure to the chemicals that sends her into epileptic seizures with paralysis. Zachary's problems range from eye disorders. His optic nerve is underdeveloped. He has what's known as ossification of the skull, where his soft spot is very, very large, and he's 5 years old now and still is not covered. Again, something that's been noted in the test animals.
Save the life of my child. Drive the dust with my blood. Oh, what's become of the children? Evil lives each other.
The veteran and his family, unfortunately, are lost in a lot of statistics. I guess I am their conscience. I am there to remind them that we are not statistics, that we are people, that veterans around the country every day suffer from these illnesses, from dioxin contamination. And it is my duty to my family, to my veteran husband, to all of the people that I know and represent, the wives and the children who have been forgotten. And I will continue to try and right those wrongs and guarantee our health care and our future for my husband and my children and my friends for as long as it takes. This is a battle that we cannot lose. We have to continue to do the work. Put yourself in our place. If you knew someone was poisoning your family, what would you do? You would fight back with everything that you have to try and stop them. And in our case, we happen to be fighting 6 multinational corporations in the United States government, which is quite a bit to chew off, to bite off and, try and deal with. And we must continue.
How many deaths will it take till he knows that too many people have died? The answer, my friend, is blowing in the wind. The answer is blowing in the wind.
If we want health care, we want them basically to recognize that a problem exists. At this time, they're still saying that we have to prove that. And I think it's been proven many, many times over, and that's what's so frustrating about the whole issue. And that's the hardest thing to swallow for most vets, is that our children were poisoned by our own government. And it's been almost 15 years for most of these guys, and the government still refuses to admit that there is a problem, and our children are still sick. And it makes them wonder what they were fighting for.
And it's 1, 2, 3. What are we fighting for? Don't ask me, I don't give a damn. The next stop is Vietnam. And it's 5, 6, 7. Open up the pearly gates. Well, there ain't no time to wonder why. Woo, we're all gonna die.
We have lobbied and demonstrated in Washington, D.C. on several occasions, trying to bring our issue to Congress, to again try and bring home to them the magnitude of the problems of Vietnam veterans as well as people domestically exposed to these chemicals. I participated in a demonstration and memorial service at Arlington National Cemetery in 1982, where we were locked out of the cemetery because we carried a wreath with orange flowers signifying Agent Orange, and we wished to lay the wreath to remember those veterans who had died and are still suffering from Agent Orange. Since we've been working on the issue, there have been people who have called us radicals and militants, trying to overthrow the government. A lot of things have happened to us personally that were very cruel and very unkind things for people to do. There are days when I cry a lot, and days when I go to the VA hospital and see a guy who's really sick and don't think I can go on another day. And that's a bad day, but there are the good ones too. You know, when my kids come and give me a big hug and I get a real nice call from someone who says, "Thanks a lot for what you're doing. We appreciate it." That means a lot. Unfortunately, we don't get many of those. On a personal level, the most rewarding part about it is traveling around the country and meeting a lot of people who are like myself, and watching us and knowing that we can overcome obstacles that seem impossible. And as hopeless as this whole issue seems, I see that in people who are very ill, whose families are very ill. They still have hope and they still have courage to try and change what's happening to us.
Hi, my name's John Lindquist. I'm one of the 4 national officers in Vietnam Veterans Against the War. I'm a Marine Corps veteran, served in Vietnam in '68 and '69. Today we have for you a film called Only the Beginning. This is a documentary about a limited incursion by Vietnam Veterans Against the War called Dewey Canyon 3 in April of 1971. It also contains film footage from French, Vietnamese, and U.S. sources about the war in Indochina up till 1972. Also references to the Winter Soldier investigation of February of '71, where U.S. soldiers got together to testify on war crimes in Indochina. This film is a very moving and dramatic presentation of why veterans and Vietnam Veterans Against the War came home to protest this war in Indochina, to stop the war and to bring our brothers home. So here it is, Only the Beginning.
This is an honorable discharge. It says, from the Armed Forces of the United States of America, this is to certify that Alan Wallace Morentz, Airman 2nd Class Regular Air Force, was honorably discharged from the United States Air Force on the 23rd day of May, December '66. Down at the bottom it says, this is an important record, safeguard it. For Skip Walsh, Sheriff, Sarasota, Florida, an Army Commendation Medal, and all my stuff.
Terry DeMott, Fort Lauderdale, Florida, Purple Heart and CIB. Ron Podolsky, Floral Park, New York, a lot of shit. Walt Kurtz, Tennessee, 4 Bronze Stars.
Right on.
I pray the time will forgive me and my brothers what we did. And only those lumping pigs behind those closed doors have to suffer, and not the young kids and the unborn kids.
I mean, you may come in there thinking, it's your patriotic duty, right? A lot of guys do. I mean, they come out of families where there's a long tradition of patriotism. Their father was in the army, their brother was in the army, their uncle was in the army. The whole family put into their heads that to be a good person, you go in the army, you don't cause trouble, you don't complain.
I got drafted into the Army. This is where I started to hate anything that wasn't exactly like me. Goose. I don't think you really know what it means unless you know how much hate is instilled in one person. And it's so hideous. I mean, we've gone into barracks, we've had like pictures of, they weren't pictures, they were like cartoons with slant eyes, everything was a slant eye, and these little hats on the top, and these were the people that you were hating. They were positioned right above the gun racks, no uniform or anything, just simply the profile of one, or maybe the full face of another.
I remember in basic training there was a film, and the communists were two white people, I guess Russian, who came into an Asian village and deceived all the Asian people into stirring them up and got them fighting. And that's the image that the Army tries to give you. So a guy comes in and he finds out that a communist is an 18-year-old kid, or a woman with children, or any number of people who are just everyday people fighting for their survival.
Keep using the word Kong and slow pins, slant eyes. I said, hey, this is the same words almost used in the States against me, third world people. But then as you go on, you begin to realize this is foolish. You're killing your own brothers.
The thing that is happening in Vietnam now is not new. Approximately a century ago, it was General Sheridan, I believe, who said that the more you kill this year, the less you'll have to kill next year. He wanted to find a person to do this, and the person he got was Custer. Custer may not have known it, but he was on the search and destroy missions, and he may not have known body counts. But if he heard it, he would have known what it was.
I've witnessed the relocation of villages. One particular operation was a 3-day operation where we took all the villagers out of the village, put them in a barbed wire compound, interrogated them, tortured some of them, beat some of them, and then we had supplies brought in to just level the ville and just get rid of anything, make it look like there was never a ville there. These things that I'm telling about, burning of villages, shooting in free fire zones, reconning by fire, they were all common. They weren't isolated. We did them wherever we went.
I know I don't belong here. It's not my war. It's their land. They were born here. What am I doing here? And it's the same fight in Laos and Cambodia. The whole Vietnamization thing is a joke. The White House set up its stooges in Saigon and in Vientiane and in Phnom Penh, and nobody's fooled. The Orbans are in the same spot we're in. They didn't enlist, they've been drafted, and they don't want any part of this war either.
Arvan troops are not fighting any better than they ever did, because basically they have no more reason to fight than the GIs who are being withdrawn. And they're just over there getting killed for the same reason, which is to prop up the Saigon government.
Disabled war veterans protesting a government benefit policy which didn't grant them enough money to stay alive on tried to march on the presidential palace. They were warned beforehand that their protest was forbidden, but they could not believe that the government would use force against veterans disabled in the service of their own country. There were 100,000 military police in Saigon, trained, equipped, and financed by the United States.
The guys are really confused about what's happening. You talk about it all the time, and people begin to come up with sort of partial answers to why that is. You know, it's a bad government. It's the rich people. It's the people that don't have to go in. The people whose sons don't have to go in. That big business is behind the war. That it's generally understood as that the reason you're there is because some rich people want to use you, and you're poor. If you weren't poor, you wouldn't be there. I mean, if you had a father who was a businessman, you wouldn't be there. Then there's this incredible rage because you're trapped inside this uniform.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of mistakes, but, you know, the grunts don't always do what the captain says, you know. See, the captain will stay back, he'll develop a platoon or something to go out so many 100 meters, you know. We don't do it. We only go as far as we get out of sight, sit down, and come back in. We don't want to hit contact. That's one thing we don't want to hit.
Mostly unpopular officers, from what I heard, if they mess with a grunt too much, they get shot at.
A friend of mine, captain, kind of got shot in the back.
What was he doing? What was the captain doing?
From what my friend said, he was telling them just go on through, and well, they were getting hit pretty bad, and he was telling them just keep on going. They said no. He kind of got shot.
I don't really think that there is going to be another generation of American soldier. I think that people are just tired of it. There will be people in the army, but the people that really feel strong on it aren't going to go in.
And GIs are just refusing to fight. I mean, that's one of the reasons why it makes sense for the government to take out ground troops. You're not going to be able to order a GI ground offensive anymore. The main thing left is the air power.
Lang Vai, Phong Xian, Xian Ban, Thủy Xuyên, Tài Lộc, Thang Binh, Phọc Xuân, Tam Kỳ, Bình Xuân, Nghĩa Hành, Ba Lang An, Bình Khê. Thái Ninh, Đâu Giang, Xuyên Học, Ô Môn, Châu Đốc.
There's a big push now to build up a tremendous amount of sympathy for the POWs. People know that those POWs weren't over there minding their own business. I mean, they were over there dropping bombs on people, destroying their homes, destroying their families.
Agent Orange is a chemical defoliant sprayed over Vietnam. It contains thalidomide. Preliminary research by Vietnamese scientists indicate that cell damage to Vietnamese children will be 6 times greater than the cell damage to the children of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. But no Vietnamese woman can wait for the final results of these studies.
Thiên Quang Nam, làm phước sướng. Mong năm thôi ở một khu bị máy bay thuộc phối. Thôi đã...
I am Hoang Thi Ly from Quang Tri Province in South Vietnam. I have 2 normal children. Hoang Thi Ho is my 3rd child. She is now almost 2 years old. When I was 2 months pregnant, I was hit directly with chemical defoliation spray. I came to the north and my daughter was born here. She is mongoloid. The back of her head is flat. Her hands are deformed. She has 3 toes that are too long and 6 toes on her left foot. She cannot stand or walk or talk. When she cries, she chokes because her tear ducts run back down her nose into her throat instead of out onto her eyes.
From New York, and I have a Vietnamese campaign ribbon, Vietnamese service ribbon, National Defense ribbon, and a Purple Heart.
Right up!
Andrew Bobbitt from New York. I have a Vietnamese ribbons and a Bronze Star.
My name is John Morrow, and here's a bunch of bullshit.
More bullshit!
My name's Peter Brannigan, and I got a Purple Heart here, and I hope I get another one fighting these motherfuckers.
Robert Jones, New York. I symbolically return all Vietnam medals and other service medals given me by the power structure that has genocidal policies against non-white peoples of the world.
Right on.
All power to the people.
This is for the brothers and sisters at Kent. For the brothers and sisters this year.
Second Battalion, 1st Marines. Power to the people. 22nd Cavalry's fighting Da Nang, and I hope they realize it's their last goddamn chance.
All that with respect, 4th Army, retired. I'm taking in 9 Purple Hearts, Distinguished Service Cross, Silver Star, Bronze Star, Army Commendation, and a lot of other shit. This is for my brothers. Right on.
We don't want to fight anymore, but if we have to fight again, it'll be to take these steps.
Well, that film, only the beginning, changed my life. I was at that demonstration and I returned my medals. And ever since that day, I've been up to my eyeballs in work for the Vietnam veterans and the veterans movement in general around this country. And this is the type of anger and determination that veterans, their families, and people all across the United States are feeling right now. The cutbacks are cutting deep into the social programs in our country. Veterans are losing their pensions. Agent Orange disabilities, there aren't none. Atomic veterans getting compensated, there isn't any. Veterans are going to D.C., Washington, D.C. once again. Operation Dewey Canyon 4, May 12th through 15th, 1982. If you're interested, if you missed Dewey Canyon 3, you don't want to miss Dewey Canyon 4. Call Vietnam Veterans Against the War at 963-0398. And let's get moving on to D.C.